Hey Bernie, welcome to Overland Expo. Hope you're enjoying your expo experience here this
Yes, I
year.
am, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, we have seen your truck in so many expos and display booths. Today, I think you're in the C6 outdoor uh, with their really nice lightweight tent here.
Yes, sir. The
Uh,
Rev tent. It's an awesome
yes,
tent.
yeah, we've heard a lot of good things about these tents. Um, Thank you for taking the time. We wanted to ask you a couple of questions,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
The first one being, what's your favorite mod on the truck? There's so many mods on things done to this truck. What's your favorite one?
I would say my favorite mod on this truck would be the front runner roof rack, or just the front runner brand in general. The front runner rack is so versatile that you could pretty much attach anything to everything and be bolt on. Everything is super configurable, and I make adjustments to our vehicle before and after every trip. So it just makes it super easy. So it's definitely my favorite thing to do to any vehicle I have. And I have three vehicles rocking on the front runner gear. So definitely front runner.
Nice. And you've been modding this truck for many years. We have seen, things change over the years on your truck,
Hmm.
tires, bumpers and caps and stuff. So, but if you were to build your truck from scratch again, would you do things differently?
So that's an interesting question that you asked that, because I love this truck. I use this truck all the time. However, this is my wife's truck. So um, when we built this, me and my wife, we are a team, and this truck is actually everything kind of ran through her. So I did the research, I chose certain products, and I had a discussion with my wife of how and why we want to use this particular product or modification or whatever to our vehicle. So if this was my truck, this would be a completely different truck. So we're talking snorkel, we're talking, like, I don't know, I'm weird. I love the look of an EXO cage, so I want to do an EXO cage. Fiberglass fenders, long travel, like those are the things like I would love to do to this. However, this is my wife's daily driver. She drives it every day. She uses it, and she knows the pros and cons with doing certain modifications and doing long travel. As awesome as it is not a daily driver setup. So, um, you know, Heim joints, just a lot of extra maintenance needed. So we built this in a way where it's reliable and still functional, and we're able to do what we want to do with this vehicle. So, um, yes, there are a lot of things I would love to change on this, but I had to run it through the wife.
Thank you for answering that. And last question. So, describe your first off-road trip with this vehicle.
That's a great question again. So my first off-road experience, we just got the truck. It was still fairly stock, and I had probably 2,700 miles on the vehicle. And I got invited by a friend of mine, who I've known in the off-road industry. I'm a website guy, and he was my client. And so he found out I got a truck, he's like, "Hey, come on out. I'm doing a run. I got like 10 other vehicles gonna be rolling with us." And my main concern is like, am I only the stock vehicle there? And it's like, oh no, there's a couple other stock ones, which was true. And when we went to Calico Ghost Town, and my friend of mine, he's been doing runs for a while, but this was before like Gaia and all those cool like online maps and using GPS and all this other stuff. And so he had a Google map printout of directions to go through the CERN trail in Calico. And yeah, let's just say there's this term called pucker effect. And it's where you get into certain situations, and you have to you kind of like when you go down a roller coaster ride, and you have to really like tense up. And so while we were off-roading in the certain section of where we were going, I was probably number 2 or 3 in a row of like 10 vehicles. And so the leader, my friend, he went through it no problem. He's on like 35s, old school Forerunner, just going through some crazy terrain. And then there was another slightly fixed up, and being a guy and being new into this off road thing, you kind of, I would say I had like an ego. So I'm like, if these two guys can do it, I could do it. And even though we're still making payments on this brand new Tacoma, and so I kept on going. We went as far as we could until we got to a drop that was probably 10 feet down. I had no sliders, no armor other than the stock armor. And stock wheels, stock tires. But I was going through, like, there's some crazy videos of me like articulating a stock vehicle, and getting pretty aggressive. And we ended up had to turn around, and that was just like we were off roading for, I would say, like maybe 4 hours, and we had to do the same 4 hours going back. The tent we ended up being five vehicles. The other five kind of went home after some of the obstacles we went through. Like, nope, we're not doing it. But I'm like so deep into it. I'm like, let's just keep on pushing. And so yeah, my first trip was Calico Ghost Town, and I ended up curbing all my wheels, bending my tow hitch, putting a basketball size dent in my rocker, and then also damaging my front skid plate. So that was like my next one. I'm like, I need a skid plate, a real one. And then yeah, that was a pretty rough ride home, because it was just me and not my wife. And so just on the way home, call my wife, tell her how awesome the trip was, talk to her a good like 10 minutes on the drive home, and then
And slowly drop the
I'm
ball.
like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, yeah, this is broken and this has a dent, and yeah, so that was my first time off roading, but it was a good time. I still continue to do this and continue to do and challenge myself, like, with this vehicle. And no, this is a Toyota is a great brand. Tacoma is a great vehicle to have, and so I continue, like, this is like a forever vehicle. It's not going anywhere. We'll just continue to improve, edit, change, and just kind of fit our style and our lifestyle. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Bernie, for taking the time
Yeah,
to
thank
answer
you
our
for having
questions.
us and
And
having your channel too.
enjoy the rest of your expo.
Thank you, sir. You too.